As we enter the final weeks of 2020, many are wondering, what does the next year, what does 2021 hold? Will we still be all working from home? Will we ever return to the office? Here is Futurist Nick Badminton. He joins us with the answers here on Global News Radio, 640 Toronto. Nick, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Jeff. Thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate you being here. All right. Let's get right to it. When it comes to work in 2021, what are you seeing in the next year? Will people slowly, eventually, as the vaccine is rolled out, will they return to the office?
I think it's yes and no. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a shift, and we're going to see people wanting the flexibility that they've had somewhat with working from home and working remotely, and also an in-office environment. So this is going to be a sort of a balance, probably like 2 or 3 days in the office, 2 or 3 days at home. In the office to be collaborative and creative, to have meetings that matter, that enable people to do better collaborative work, and then the time at home where you can be truly productive. But there are going to be some people that want to be completely remote, and there's going to be some people that want to be completely in the office. And it's kind of that divide between like the 20-something-year-old worker that wants the independence, and the slightly older person with a family that might actually rely on that work environment to create some semblance of a life balance, right?
Yeah, tell us about this. Forget 9 to 5. There's been a lot of talk. Apparently, a lot of corporations are thinking ahead to what they're calling 3-2-2, Nick, which is basically 3 days in the office, 2 out, and 2 days for a weekend.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Different jobs, work on the 9 to 5, the Monday to Friday, or the Monday to Saturday, or Tuesday to Saturday. And some have just sort of bled into people's lives. People are doing a little bit of work 7 days a week, and that's something that I've been doing for years. Some people are completely remote, and they work all night, and they want to do something else during the day. I don't think it's as simple as the 3-2-2 method that's being sort of touted by so many people. I just think that what needs to happen is management, organizations, they need to be open to flexibility, to listening to how people work, and to really make that work for themselves, because that's going to lead to a lot more productivity, a lot more creativity, and a lot better work environment overall.
Yeah, you would think a happier workforce, because you're absolutely right. The pandemic, I think, has maybe, given people pause when it comes to their working life and finding that work-life balance. And is something like 3-2-2 or a version of it, do you think that's a happy medium between what some employees might want, which is a little more flexibility, work-life balance, and companies trying to hold workers accountable, still seeing them 3 days, maybe 4 days a week?
Yeah, I absolutely do think that it is workable. I think it depends what industry you're in. I think that you got to really work out, every job's different, and every set of tasks need you to either be collaborative or sort of be on your own and being productive and having the checks and balances in meetings, right? So I don't think that it's going to be a one-size-fits-all. I think that there's going to be smaller offices. I think that people aren't going to have their own desks. I think it's going to be hot desking. I think that it's going to take a lot of people that haven't done that before time to get used to that. And I think that some people are going to love that. But it's going to be a long time, before we get to the point where we're going to start to try out some of these new models. It's going to be, I think, September, October next year before people are starting to really think, okay, I can start going back into the office even for 1 day a week.
All right, meantime, let's talk about socialization and socializing. We know this Christmas holiday is going to be like one we've never experienced or had before, everybody being encouraged to stay within their own household, within their own home. But moving into 2021, and again, as the vaccine rolls out, do you think that we eventually are going to get back to socializing in a way we did pre-pandemic, or are those days gone?
I don't think those days are gone at all. I mean, the human society for thousands of years has been getting together to celebrate events, to socialize more casually as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hyperbole about, society is changing, culture has changed forever and whatever. I just don't see it. I just think that as soon as I can get out to a restaurant to go and see friends, or I can go to a bar and see some friends, I can go to, any kind of socialization event, live music or whatever, and it's going to be safe, or I'm going to be able to put in some protocols, whether that's wearing masks or the event is ensuring that everyone's going to be safe. I think everyone's going to get back to normal as soon as they can. So I think it's been overhyped that suddenly the world's going to change. I just think that right now we're sort of stuck at homes in our basements and working away and whatever. And we're going to be stuck in these places for the holidays. But you know what? This is just a short blip on a very long life for many of us, right?
Sure, but is there a psychological hurdle, if you will, Nick, to get over? I mean, I'm thinking about, I miss live music as much as anybody, but, you know, trying to think about going into an arena or a stadium with 20,000 other people. After what we've been through the last year or so, I think there's going to be some people hesitant to do that.
Yeah, absolutely there will. And you know what? Those individuals will take their own course of action as they want. I mean, we're in a situation where we've been dictated to how we need to operate. And you know what? This one-size-fits-all strategy just isn't sustainable. A lot of it isn't sensible to me when you can actually start to pinpoint where the problems are and take action against, you know, those areas and help the people that need to be helped versus this blanket situation that we find ourselves in with the lockdown. But you know what? Viruses are sneaky things. They get everywhere. And you just need to, on an individual basis, just control who you see, know that there needs to be responsibility around that, and try and avoid mixing and mingling with people that you just don't know. When it comes to going back to concerts and whatever, yeah, people are going to be nervous. Do I think that concerts and events, conferences and whatever are going to be smaller once we get the go-ahead? No, I think they're going to be bigger. I think that there's going to be huge celebrations, especially across North America. Places that I go and speak, like Las Vegas, I think you're going to see conferences that were 2,000 people being like 5,000+ people, and I think that people can't wait to get back together.
Just finally, I wanted to ask you about real estate, because there's been a lot of talk about a shift from urban into suburban, that Toronto, for example, is no longer the most costliest real estate market in the country, that a lot of people have fled the city. Do you think that into 2021 that we're going to see a seismic shift when it comes to real estate, or are we going back to the way it was?
I just think it's a bit of an adjustment. I think that people are still buying in cities. I've just sold an apartment that I owned that was outstanding to be sold in the center of Vancouver, and the people that were buying that are a young couple. They want to be in the heart of the action. I think it's going to be the same in Toronto and other places, big cities. Yes, there's been a huge amount of people that have taken this as an opportunity to get out into the suburbs, and some have gone even further out into rural Ontario and whatever. But you know what? I think that there's going to be a lot of younger people that do want to come back to the center of cities. And I think that once it becomes a bustling, vibrant place, I think the economic commissions around the world are going to start drawing people back in with events and festivals and all sorts of celebrations. So that's going to start reconnecting people with the culture in cities. And I think that is what's going to sort of repair everything. And what's good is that it's going to be cheaper to get in the game versus what it was getting like before, which was a little bit ridiculous.
Well, as somebody who lives downtown, as you mentioned, in the heart of the action, I can hardly wait for the action to return.
Exactly.
Nick,
exactly.
Thanks for this. Thanks as always, and happy holidays. Best in the new year.
Take care, Jeff. Happy New Year.
Appreciate it. There's Futurist Nick Badminton with us.